A lot of thoughts about growing old today. My mind is like it's racing a lot right now about what it's going to be like as you get older and some of the loneliness about getting old. And it's crossed my mind a lot today. I just can't help but think about it. And I'll tell you why. So, during the pandemic where I live, we're all kind of like the same as like a lot of you guys. Like, we're all isolated and locked up and by ourselves. But every morning I could hear the sound of like almost like a shopping cart rolling down the sidewalk. And turns out there's this little old lady who lives next door to me. She's 79 years old, and she's got a walker. And she walks down the street every single day, and she walks around the block. And she's appropriately nicknamed me the mayor. And every morning I talk to everybody. I'll sit on my porch and I'll just talk to all the strangers who walk by. Maybe that's like ultra Canadian of me. It's not very American, I don't think. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But I talk to everybody, and so I've gotten to know like my neighbors, and like it's kind of cool, the neighbor next door, his daughter's like doing a school paper on me because I'm her favorite artist, and she didn't know that I lived next door. I thought that was pretty cool. And again, this little old lady, her name's Rachel. She walks down that walker, and because of the pandemic, she would stop in front of our house with her mask on, and then she would talk to me. And she'd ask me questions about who I am and where I'm from and what I'm doing. And as she would be standing there, people would be walking by, and I'd be waving, and they'd have their dogs, and I'd be like, hey. And it's been a pretty special thing. And for the whole year, we talked about going for breakfast. So there's this breakfast place in Los Angeles called Millie's, which I love. It's this really cool diner, and you get to see the people cooking, and I love the place. And so she's like, hey, she's like, you want to take me there one day? And I was like, yeah, when the pandemic ends, we'll go out for sure. And so we just went out today for the first time, and I brought her for this breakfast. My girlfriend and I, we picked her up, and I made a little video about it. So if on all my other social media platforms, you can go check it out. I made this little clip. And when the pandemic kind of chilled out and we got our shots, and she'd gotten hers, and like it was the first time we could actually connect, and we've known each other for a year now. And so she's like, can I hug you? And it's like that thought, like, can I hug you? It's like it really hits me. And this morning, like going for breakfast with her, and her excitement, man, she's like come to life. Like she was like glowing. And how special that was to sit there and like share in this conversation and to hear her excitement about everyone else's life, I just think it's so special. It's just got me thinking. It's got me thinking a lot about growing old. And so my mind's been racing. Yeah, I've done a couple lives in other places thinking about these thoughts, these questions that I have in my head, Like, are you guys afraid to grow old? Do you talk to the people around you who've grown old around you? When was the last time you called your grandparents, if they're still around? Because like I think when you're young, you have these blinders on, and you see the world in your own sphere, and you're always like, yeah, I'll do things tomorrow. Like everything will be done tomorrow. And if you're like me, along the way, I've lost friends and neighbors alike, and tomorrow didn't come. And that's a really interesting thought. So it's like, it's easy to get kind of like taken over by what's going on in your life. It's like, it's really easy to have that be the thing that's kind of like doing everything. Of course, it's so present. It's like everything. Everyone's telling you, be in the present, And there's nothing wrong with that. But then, I don't know. I wonder, like for instance, like things in my life have been incredible this year. They've gone crazy, but my phone doesn't ring anymore. My phone's silent. Every call I get's a work call. It's like it's a very strange thing, And I think it's just really interesting to look at it and to see it all unfolding in front of your eyes, like, and yeah, as we all get older, as we all age through life, it's like the circles of people that call you and talk to you get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I don't know what it's like when I'm in my 70s and 80s and 60s or whatnot. Like, what's those circles look like? You know, when you've done your jobs and you've had your own families and whatnot. You know? So I'm just thinking a lot about that. It's not a sad thought or anything like that, or even a somber thought. It's more of a curiosity of like, I'm young, so like, what do I want my future to look like? And what do I want the futures of other people or the present? And like, case in point, today it's like my little old neighbor whom I talk to on the regular basis and who brought me chicken noodle soup when I got sick a few weeks ago. We talk and we hang out, and it's nice. And you know, I wonder if she knows just how much of a light that she is, and how much joy she brings to our lives here when she stops to have conversations, real conversations. I think it's pretty special. I'm seeing all you guys commenting, by the way. If I don't read off what your comment is, like, please comment it again. I think your name was Crystal from North Carolina. What's up, Reese? You said you love my music. Thank you very much. I love your comment. Anyway, these are my thoughts. You know, I just did a live on TikTok, and I was, you know, I'm thinking a lot about just getting older, and like, you know, you think about successes and whatnot, and like a lot of crazy exciting things happen. Like, look guys, that's my first ever gold record. I just got it sitting on the wall. I think that's pretty special, you know. But like, as those things are sitting on the wall, I'm thinking about these exciting things, and I'm thinking about my Nana, and I'm thinking about what it was like for me growing up, and you know, I'm thinking about what it was like being a homeless teenager and bouncing around and not sure what would happen and where things would go, and all those fears, and like raising myself, and then my Nana coming in and trying to help me and empower me to do something positive with my life. And I put my head down. My phone used to be crazy. It used to ring so much, and I would be there and like so many people to talk to, and now it's gotten quiet just because things are, you know, going in a certain direction. And you think about things, you know, and I was talking to my Nana yesterday, and I'm thinking a lot about my Nana, thinking a lot about life, thinking a lot about how fast it all goes by, man. Does it go by fast for you guys too? Like, is it happening at the speed of light? Because it feels like that's what's happening for me. It feels like it's happening at the speed of light. So these are like the things on the top of my brain. You're welcome for the cameo. I'm happy you enjoyed it. What'd you say was the last thing? Tim, oh my God, Tim, how you doing, man? It is great that you got your gold record up on the wall. Great reminder of your accomplishments and a reminder to push forward. Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. I'm not going to take that down at all. Like, the thought of that, it's incredibly exciting. It's a really beautiful validation, but then at the same point, like, I have another question. Here's the truth of it. I don't have any answers. I really don't know anything. I really don't. And the older I get, the more I realize that. At the ripe age of 25 that I am. What I've come to realize, though, is I'm more of an architect of questions. Like, I genuinely love questioning everything. I have questions upon questions, and none of which will be answered because I just don't know. Nothing is objective enough. You know? Like, I don't have that 300-foot view of the world and life and whatnot. So everything is this like curious question to me. Where does it all come from? How does it all end up here? Where does it all go? What all happens? What's gonna happen? How do you do things right? What is right? And so I think about these things nonstop. So, and to the point of what I was getting at, though, is that the gold record was this incredible validation. And in a quick moment, I was like, wow, like maybe I'm finally good enough to say that I'm good. And in the quickest breath, there was another question. It was like, well, why haven't you been good? And I was like, that's a really interesting question. Why did I ever need that validation? You know, we're all in our little lanes doing our own thing, just going wherever we're going. It's pretty special. But I think we're all like that. You know, when someone calls you handsome or beautiful, when someone says, wow, you've really done a great job, thank you. Or someone calls you up and says, man, I couldn't have done this without you. That feels really good. You know? So I think a lot of people seek that validation. But validation is quite interesting because it's fleeting. As fast as it comes in, it seeps right through your fingers and falls back out into the ethos, and there you are, left wondering, am I good enough? And I think that that's beautiful, actually. I think that the thought in itself, you know, some people will say like, don't seek validation, or don't seek this, or don't do that. But at the same time, I don't know. Is it so much a negative? You know, I think it means you care. You know, and I think that's pretty special. I think when you know, like when you seek or showcase those types of feelings, it really feels like you genuinely care. You care about what other people, what they're like. You care about what other people's experiences are around you. And I think that that's pretty cool. I think that's really special when you care like that. You know? Maybe that's the Canadian in me, I don't know. But I think it's pretty special. Yeah. I'm glad you think it's special as well, Tara. It means that they notice and care. How true, right? I think like a lot of probably you out there, you know, as you're growing up, you squash your feelings, you hide from them, you hide them from other people because you don't know what they mean, and someone's gonna say you're too loud, and so you'll quiet down, or you'll go to places where no one can hear you so you can be your weird and unique and authentic self. You can be the loudest version of loud. You know, and some people are quiet, and people will point that out. Like, oh, you're too quiet. You need to speak up. But is it just not this really beautiful balance of the world where like everybody has their own space, and the loud people are important because they provide shelter for the quiet, and the quiet provide refuge for the loud? And you know, the dynamic threshold of like each soul on this planet is pretty special. My God. If you really think about it, like everyone has a place. People are kind of like songs on Spotify. Like there's room for every one of them. And some will get some more recognition than others, but really at the end of the day, it's this beautiful line of time where you're trying to express your feelings. And it will start somewhere, and there'll be a middle, and there'll be a climax to it, and then it will end off and fade away and on to the next song. And I think that's kind of sounds a lot like maybe what we go through here on this planet. Like we wake up and it's like a little fade into a song. And some people crash the party. Some people are born like 2 feet on the ground, ready to kick life in the ass. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's so special. And you just traverse through this life, like just sitting on this giant rock, floating around a giant gas ball in the middle of nowhere, too far away from anything else. It's kind of like an Alcatraz in a way, but not so negative, you know? It's just like, what's out there? Everything's too far away to know. I think that's pretty cool and pretty special. Oh my gosh. Wow. I have a lot of thoughts in my head. You know what's really cool is that like these videos that I'm doing, all these things that like go up online and whatnot, they'll like, someone will one day look onto these and I won't be here any longer, and there'll be special reminders of like who I was and who you are and the exchange that we all had. People will read the comments, and it's like a legacy for all of us. And I think that thought in itself too is quite special. Like we all leave a little footprint, you know, kind of like dinosaurs or something like that. Imagine in 1,000 years someone stumbles across this YouTube video of me just talking philosophy into a camera on a Saturday afternoon after having a breakfast with my 79-year-old beautiful and wonderful neighbor. Ah, man. I keep thinking, where we from, where we go. I keep dreaming, wondering about life and all that we know. Falling down on the paper again. Oh man, all my thoughts racing. As much as I don't like compliments made to me, I would give anything to hear my dad say, "I'm proud of you," one more time. Well, I'm proud of you. I'm not your dad, but maybe everybody here can just say that they're proud of you. I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of you if you've had the worst day or the best day. I'm proud of you if you are loved or hated or disliked or admired. I was just sharing on TikTok about this other thought of like, there's this beautiful thought in the fact that like someone who's met you at one of the highlights of your life or one of the low times of your life, and that's who they think you are. That's kind of that like footprint in limestone moment where it's like that's what you forged in their mind. So like someone thinks you're the worst person in the world and another person thinks you're the greatest gift since sliced bread, and it's like, I think that's so cool. And you can be anything you want. You don't have to, who cares, man? It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. What matters is where you are. It matters about what you want to be. Hold yourself accountable to who you are today. If you've done people wrong and people call you out for that wrong, I think that's maybe important to acknowledge it. Give them the grace to like move through the pain. But at the end of the day, it's like, you are where you are. You're a human. There is no rule book, you know? Like genuinely, there's no rule book, because any book that you follow is going to have ebbs and flows. It's going to have parts that aren't great and parts that are awesome. So, but I still think it's a pretty profound and beautiful thought to think that someone remembers you as either the best memory or worst memory they have. The dynamic range is incredible. Man, it's so crazy. So cool. Yeah. I'm proud of you for being you. I'm proud of you for being uniquely you, strangely you, curiously you. So thanks for listening to me ramble on today. I'm just in one of those moments in my life where I'm thinking a lot. Incredible things have happened and incredible things continue to happen, and I think I've always thought that when you make it, you'd make it, or you'd know it at least. And I can tell you that I didn't know anything. I don't even know what it means to make it. I don't know anything. I'm just here for a little bit of time, really like a spark. It's really how, like, on the scale of time, that's how long it is. And so it's pretty special, man. Just trying to take it all in, because one day it's not going to be here. One day it'll end, and that's awesome. That's still special in itself. So thanks for listening today. You're all wonderful. You're all beautiful people. I'm going to do it again and again and again, and we'll do more of these lives. But I think YouTube is just where I'm going to talk. I think it's just time to, not time, but I'm in a place where I just want to be my most authentic self and talk the way I talk. This is how I talk. These are the things that I think about. It's what makes the songs maybe what they are. It's because I care and I think about feelings. And, sometimes you need to write a couch song, and sometimes you need to write, the hard-hitting, deep philosophical thought, because life is really, it feels like sometimes it's turning into like 15-second sound bites instead of like what thoughts are thoughts. How do you think about something? And the fact that like nobody really knows, like nobody knows the outcomes, so you don't really know. So to be super opinionated is a pretty interesting thing. And for the fact that like where you're born and what you believe, where you come from, what you've learned, who's been around you, all those things are such big factors. That's also really important. It's kind of like that diagram of like a six, and there's a person on either end of it, and they're arguing because one person's arguing that it's a 9 and the other person's arguing that it's 6. It's a 6, but if you have the 300-foot view of it, you see a 6 is a 9 just upside down, so you can't argue. I think that's such a funny thought. Anyway, so YouTube, that's what it's about. We're gonna sing songs and talk philosophy. Someone did win the $4,500. I see someone asking about that. Yes, I'm like cutting together a video of it, but it was like a 45-minute long video, so it's taking me a long time to cut it up. But somebody did win, and they're from Canada, and I will put it out there and share who they are. And it was really cool. It was really nice talking to them, hearing their story. So be safe, be well. It's always, it's wonderful talking to you guys. I love you. Genuinely love you. I got this big shit-eating grin on my face today because of it. So, sing songs and talk philosophy, right? I love that. So, all right, guys, girls, people, all ages, colors, genders, I love y'all. Peace.